Hey everyone, very special guest here today. We have Eve, who is obviously my partner in life as well as in the business, and one of our first inner work clients when we began doing inner work, moved away from nutrition and exercise and doing more inner work. Here today to hear a little bit about her story, what that's been like, what the changes have been, what are some of the roadblocks have been, what are some of the good things been, and yeah, pretty amazing story. Some of you might have heard, some of you might not, but a pretty epic story. So we'll let her do the talking because she's pretty good at that. So tell us, what was life like before coming to Awakened Lifestyles?
Okay, there's a very big question.
Before doing your inner work.
Yeah, very big question. So, I was in my early 30s, and I guess the best way to describe the way that my life was then was busy, was really, really fast-paced,
Yep.
And was quite extreme. I would have considered myself back then an A-type personality, extrovert, overachiever or high achiever. Very social, quite competitive, and I think basically I had spent my entire life attaching my sense of worth to what I did, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
whether it was if I studied or my job or what I did at the gym or how I looked or what house I had or car I had. And so what I found was that it was a very vicious treadmill, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So at the time I was working as a project director for an international property organisation, and I had studied postgraduate. I'd left a long-term relationship, a 9-year relationship, I think when I would have been in 31. I was living here in New Farm in Brisbane, and I guess you could say I had all the gear and no idea. So what I mean by that is externally it looked like, I had this fantastic life with, the study, the career, the money, the diamond earrings, the car, the social life, the exercise regime, the friends.
Mm-hmm. So how did it all on the outside? How did it feel inside? How did you feel about yourself?
Look,
what was the story you were telling yourself?
I don't think I actually thought about myself,
Yep.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
It was like I was on autopilot.
But you must have had some kind of moments where you were quiet to yourself, like at home alone or on the balcony, or like, I don't know, quiet moments where the truth starts to come up for you. And what was that truth?
Yeah, the truth is that I was pretty sad,
Yeah.
that I was in my early 30s and that I was single, and that I was repeating the same patterns with attracting unavailable men since leaving my long-term relationship. I was really gutted that I had left this long-term relationship that I wanted that relationship to work because I liked the idea of marriage and children in that relationship, even though in hindsight it absolutely wasn't right. And I think I spent quite a bit of time recovering from leaving the relationship and just building a new life after leaving. In terms of studying and career and stuff like that. And I think I didn't actually allow any time to feel anything after recovering, if that makes sense, so getting out of it. And so I think what I found was, I remember I just felt exhausted.
Yep.
And when I sat with it, like, why am I exhausted? It just felt like I was constantly running and using anything I possibly could to make me feel better. So whether that was alcohol, recreational drugs, a new car, holidays, men, career accomplishment, anything that I could to avoid sitting with this feeling that I felt really disappointed and sad and alone, that all of my other friends in their 30s were building this perceived, perfect life with children and husbands and things, and I was single on my own, and really what I wanted was to find a partner and have a healthy relationship and start a family.
And so you said you felt sad, disappointed, and alone. Would people have known that from the outside?
No.
What would it
Definitely
look like
not.
from the outside?
Definitely not. So I remember friends of mine that had family and children just saying, oh my God, you have the best life and you've got so much energy, you never You never stop. I don't know how you...
Yeah, I remember you had so much energy too. You would non-stop constantly.
So, you know, I would work all week and go to the gym and walk to and from work, and I'd have drinks with my friends or work functions after work. And then on the weekends, you know, I'd have a Friday long lunch that'd go till midnight, and then I'd wake up on
you were
Saturday.
running effectively.
Just constant. There was no white space, very little time to myself, other than coming home and, you know, pouring myself a glass of wine and maybe opening the laptop and doing some work and watching a show and going to bed. But yeah.
Okay. So sad, alone, disappointed in
Yeah.
self and with life, even though outside everything looked awesome.
Yeah.
What happened? What was the change? What was the shift like? How did
I
things
just
begin to
remember there was a 6-month period where things got particularly bad. I was told that I might have some fertility challenges. I won a really big project that I had to deliver, and I felt really alone and frightened about delivering it. And rather than, I guess, ask for help, I just did it myself. I think basically things just escalated, and I noticed my behaviour. So I started, you know, using more cocaine on the weekends, drinking more. Everything just got a little bit more extreme.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling like I kind of couldn't really care if I was dead or alive. I was just that exhausted. And I remember one night I had a big night, and I lay out on the balcony at the stars, and I remember looking up just going, just help me, somebody help me. And I guess I probably realised that the only person that really could help me was me.
Yeah.
And so that's when I came to see Awaken Lifestyles.
Awesome. And so what happened in that? Like, obviously I know the story, but when you say you came to see Awaken Lifestyles, what are some of the things that you learnt about yourself? What are some of the things that were kind of light bulb moments? What changed, you know? Like,
Yeah. So I think I woke up. That was the main thing. I remember this feeling of like waking up and noticing things. And the way that happened was from me slowing down. So I started having a look at my values and the way that I was living. And what I began to realise was I was living from a place of should.
wow.
And so that was,
Pretty popular.
Yeah, I should be doing this. You know, you should go back and study postgrad, you know, to get a better job and make more money. And, you know, you should have this kind of car. And, yeah, you should do all of this. And so I remember, I was basically uncovering that I'd been living from this place of should. And surprisingly, I worked out that a lot of it wasn't actually how I wanted to be living or what I wanted to be doing.
Wow.
And I also realised that I attached my sense of self-worth to my career status or my income status. So because I was working for this company or delivering this type of project and earning this type of money or day rate, I was more worthy. So if I didn't have that...
So you learned all this, and then what happened? You say you woke up. What does that do? I realise I'm not living in line with my values. Something's got to change.
So I realised, so I basically slowly started doing a bit of a personal inventory, I guess you could say. So I started looking at not only my nutrition and exercise, but the friends that I was spending time with.
Yep.
I learned how to set boundaries, and so by boundaries I mean how to say no.
Yep.
So I used to say yes to everything and feel bad if I I have to go to that, you know. And just started having a look at where I really wanted to spend my time and what I really wanted to be doing. And that was quite extraordinary. So not just doing things to fit in or feel accepted.
Yeah, wow.
And it felt a bit frightening at first. I remember I was just crying all the time and I didn't realise why I was crying, but there were just such huge shifts going on in me learning more about what was right for me and what wasn't right for me, and how that is truly unique just to me, because no two humans are the same. So there's no point in me looking to other humans. I realised I just had to look inside me.
Yep.
And that can be quite confronting and quite overwhelming and quite challenging and uncomfortable. but I remember it was also so beautiful, relieving, joyous,
Awesome.
exciting.
So it was scary, but it was worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It literally felt like an awakening, and that awakening for me happened most days or weeks over a 6-month period. Like, don't get me wrong, I had to implement some change. So, you know, I wasn't just, I was saying no to some work functions, even though I thought I might not be perceived as committed if I didn't go. I started delegating functions to my team. You know, I stopped drinking as much. I started meditating, started walking and slowing down and having a lot more white space in my life. So there was lots of other stuff that was sort of action that I was having to take whilst doing this inner work.
And then, awesome, yep. And so, and you have a pretty profound plot twist that also happened. So what kind of happened then? Because you found this awakening, life's going really good. Oh my God, I didn't even realize all these things about myself and who I am and what I like and what I'm about. I'm starting to live in line with them. What happens next?
Yeah, so what happens next? So before I answer that, I should mention that I really hated being out of control.
Yeah.
So it's quite fitting that I chose project management as a career. I still don't like feeling out of control. It's something I work with a lot, as you well know.
It is. It's a thing.
But I did anything I could to avoid feeling out of control. And I guess the plot twist was that after 6 months of doing my inner work, and along the way, do you remember I used to say, I don't know what's going on, like this is just something's happening, this is just so many shifts, I don't know why all this is happening, all this stuff's coming up. And as a result of all this slowing down and going inward, my Saturday mornings were a lot more relaxed, and I used to go to the markets or meditate or whatever. And I was lying on my bed. I'd just finished meditating and speaking to a girlfriend on the phone, and I found a lump in my breast. And at 34 years of age, I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. So talk about feeling out of control. That was extraordinary. Probably the most frightening time of my life. But the interesting thing is that when I found the lump, I knew straight away that this 6 months of inner work that I had been doing had allowed me to find that lump myself. And I remember finding the lump and saying to you and then saying to the doctors, I think I know I've got cancer, breast cancer. And they were like, why? You've got no history of breast cancer. You're 34. Like, why do you think you've got breast cancer? And I was like, I just know. Something in me 6 months earlier has told me I needed to make life changes, and I needed to stop. I needed to slow down, and that I couldn't keep going. And I believe that was my intuition, my body telling me.
Yeah. And so, do you believe if you hadn't done your inner work, you wouldn't have found the line? I know you say that. Like,
there is absolutely, I shudder to think how far along the cancer would have got if I hadn't have slowed down, connected with my body and gone inward and started doing inner work. Why would I? I was 34. I was healthy. I did a powerlifting competition of all things the
weeks before.
The weeks before I got cancer. So I was, really lean, really fit, really strong to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I hear so many cases these days of people, I guess, things getting really bad. Whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, whether it's with their health or relationships or whatever, and it's a bit too late, I guess. So
can be, yeah. So we're not saying come do your inner work
and
and
then
find
you're going
cancer.
No,
that's definitely not the deal. Okay, and so you.
But doing the inner work allowed me to find this lump in my breast and sort of, I guess, save my life to some extent.
Well, literally save your life. Yeah.
But it also gave me the skills, I believe, to then go through that next couple of years, which, as you know, is pretty hectic.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, as far as the cancer stuff goes, you nailed that. Like, I saw parts of your personality that I didn't know existed, and parts of you that kind of shine through that in a really impressive kind of applying the stuff that we speak about around surrender and letting go and acceptance and just doing the next right thing, and you completely nailed that. And as far as breast cancer goes, it was probably the best possible
type of cancer,
best possible outcomes as well. So you through that now. We now have a kid. We now have a completely different life. You're not project managing, running around like a mad person anymore. What's life like now?
Oh,
What's
goodness,
different?
Life is so different. So the main thing that I notice is different is that old habits die hard, right?
Yeah,
So
can do.
can do.
Yeah.
So for me, what I notice is I can't operate at a high, busy, fast-paced level anymore. And if my mind tries to tell me to, my body will
Slow you down.
will slow me down. So it's something that I still work on with my inner work all the time. But that's something that I really notice is that I don't have an ability to operate at that level anymore because it's not in line with my
And that's a
values.
good thing?
It's a great thing for me. So I'm not running, although sometimes I'm human and can use distraction techniques to avoid a feeling. Or
I really
something
like that you
that.
say I'm not running. Right? So I'm no longer running. So you're no longer running from what?
Ooh, avoiding a feeling.
Yep.
Myself.
So that maybe those feelings, and I don't know, but maybe those feelings of sadness, disappointment, being alone.
Yeah.
And is that because they're not there anymore?
No, so the main thing that inner work has taught me is how to be with, sit with, acknowledge
Yep.
a feeling,
Yep.
and that I don't have to do anything with that feeling.
Yep.
Although sometimes when I feel out of control, I still try and control the shit out of things.
Yeah.
But effectively, it's okay for me to feel sadness, anger, disappointment, joy, ecstasy, whatever feelings. I don't have to act on those.
And as someone that knows you, absolutely, I hear you. As someone that knows you really well, I would also suggest, and I want you to answer, I've never had this conversation with you, but I'd suspect that maybe I don't have to run anymore because I kind of like and know who I am today, and so I don't need to run away from myself.
Yeah,
Would that be fair
definitely.
to say?
And I believe, like, I'll be doing my own inner work forever, and I'm still discovering parts of myself, both shadow and light. But I think, I'm pretty accepting of myself now. And like, as an example, in relationship, Anthony and I are really different in the way that we eat, move our body, socialise, all sorts of things. And I guess in the beginning, if I wasn't like you or like somebody else, then I felt that made me worth less. Whereas now I have an ability to say, oh, okay, no, Anthony's Anthony, that's really beautiful. This is me, and I'm me. And I'm not different, I'm me. So there's a lot more self-acceptance.
Yeah.
I think the white space and the slowing down, I practice Vedic meditation now.
What's white space mean?
Something in your diary or in your day or in your week where there's nothing scheduled.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a really, really important thing for me.
So it's kind of less doing and more being?
More being. And I definitely notice that when something doesn't feel good for me, or if I'm starting to get angry or resentful or stressed,
Yeah.
the best thing that I can do is just go and sit with that for a while and not do anything. And the spiritual answers will come, like the answers will come through me, like what's not working for me, what do I need to change, what conversation do I need to have in order to support myself and not abandon myself like I did for many years before, when I hadn't learned about myself and and found my voice. So life today, I guess, is more from a place of love, not a place of fear. So I like having this amazing business. I like helping people. I like earning money. But it's not because it makes me a better human.
Yeah, wow.
Because it just doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's probably...
So in that, and that's awesome. So you've kind of gone from just rushing on the treadmill, trying to keep up with this idea that you need to be someone else and should be someone else in order to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
When in reality, you said you were feeling sad, disappointed, and alone.
Yeah.
Now, having done your inner work, still doing things that are important to you, like, earning money and having a good life and enjoying, a nice lifestyle. How would you describe the difference to someone who can feel the same way, or someone who relates to what you're saying? How would you describe the difference from who you were back then? I mean, other than finding cancer early and surviving that and becoming a mum? How would you describe the way I felt back there, feeling sad, alone, disappointed in yourself, to now?
Yeah. Well, even though I have an 11-month-old, I feel like I've technically been in a washing machine for the last 11 months.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more grounded, believe it or not. Don't laugh, because I can be a bit nutty still. Grounded, centered. There's a lot of relief in accepting yourself. Like sometimes we can still shame, blame, judge, criticize ourselves, and I'm very good at doing that too. But having that awareness and being able to observe that, and having that become less and less over the years is really nice.
So beating yourself up less.
Yeah, having some more self-compassion and being kind to yourself. I really did think that I needed to be fixed, that I was broken and I needed to be fixed, whereas now my thoughts and beliefs are as a result of my time on this earth, and sometimes they're not helpful, but that's my thoughts and beliefs because of my experience on this planet, which is different to yours and different to the next person. So once I can understand where I've come from and where I've learnt some of those behaviours or thoughts or beliefs, and notice that they're no longer serving me, then I am able to be kind to myself if I change them. So if I want to change them from a place of love, rather than you're a shit human, you need to be fixed. We need to belt this out of you type thing. So it's just probably a more feminine approach. I think I'm a bit more feminine now. Like I was quite masculine, I think I've even project managed my cancer recovery to some extent. But over time, what I've learned is, you can still get results and still like yourself and still evolve from a nice, gentle place of love. Yeah.
Awesome. And I just had one last question. I just thought of something just then. If we'd asked you, 6, 7, 8 years ago, what's your purpose on this planet, what would you have said? This is completely unscripted, obviously.
Probably, I probably would have avoided saying to be a mother and have a family, and said something about to be like something feminine in female lead in the project management industry, maybe.
Yeah.
But now it's a lot.
And so what would do you know what your purpose is today? Well, I know you do. What is that?
Well, I do to some extent, in the sense that it seems quite broad, but for me, I feel like my purpose is to allow others to feel safe to be seen. Because for me, I never really, truly felt safe to be seen. I felt like I had to be something different or something better.
And how does it make you feel knowing that that's your purpose, whatever it happened to be? Like, I don't believe we get to choose what our purpose is going to be, but how does it make you feel
really
knowing that?
Nice and loving. Like, it's difficult to, it's not like my purpose is I want to be a world record swimmer, or I want to be the best doctor. How do you attach a monetary or a success factor to allowing others to feel safe to be seen? It's a bit non-quantifiable. But for me, whatever it is that I might be doing, whether it's in our coaching business or our doTERRA essential oils business, or whether it's in our friendships or family or parenting or in relationship, that's a really nice place to come from.
Absolutely. It gives you meaning to everyday life. Direction.
And
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Beautiful
thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.